You know that one man everyone tells you not to text? Catherine Howard did not have texting, so she settled for secret midnight meetings with the king's favorite gentleman. Splendid decision. Because in Tudor England, flirting was not awkward. It was frequently punishable by decapitation. Tonight's story has everything. A handsome courtier, a teenage queen, jealous servants, secret love notes, midnight rendezvous, and one king who was growing older, sicker, and far more paranoid. The question is not whether someone lost their head. The real question is, did that someone actually deserve to? Thomas Culpeper walked through Henry VIII's court like he owned the place. He was tall, handsome, charming, the sort of fellow mothers warn their daughters about, while secretly hoping he would call. Unlike many courtiers who clawed their way into favor, Culpeper already enjoyed something priceless. Henry VIII liked him. He was not just another gentleman. He served in the king's Privy Chamber. That meant he was trusted enough to be near Henry when the king dressed, slept, hunted, or barked orders at everyone unfortunate enough to be breathing nearby. That is royal VIP access. If Henry trusted you, you had influence. If Henry really trusted you, you probably should not get anywhere near his wife. Enter Catherine Howard. Poor Catherine. History remembers her as the silly queen who could not keep her hands to herself. Reality? She was probably around 17 or 18 years old, married to a king pushing 50, suffering constant pain, carrying an ulcerated leg that smelled so dreadful, people reportedly knew he was arriving before he entered the room. Nothing says romance quite like gangrene. Meanwhile, Thomas Culpeper was young and healthy, funny, and actually capable of dancing longer than 30 seconds without needing medical attention. I'm simply saying the competition was not exactly fair. Now, did they actually fall in love? Nobody knows. Historians have argued for centuries. Some insist they were lovers. Others believe Culpeper simply enjoyed the Queen's attention. Either way, someone made an astonishingly foolish decision. They started meeting in secret, at night, away from the king, because apparently nobody had ever heard the phrase, "This might end badly." Helping arrange these meetings? None other than Jane Boleyn, Lady Rochford. Yes, that Jane Boleyn, the woman who had already survived Anne Boleyn, helped destroy Catherine Howard, and somehow continued making catastrophically bad life choices. Honestly, Jane could have written a self-help book called How to Accidentally Get Executed Twice. The meetings happened while the royal court traveled through England. One evening, the Queen quietly slipped away. Jane stood watch. Culpeper arrived. The door closed. And history has spent nearly 500 years wondering exactly what happened inside. Did they kiss? Exchange letters? Declare undying love? Play Tudor charades? Nobody knows, but someone was watching. Because there is one thing the servants loved more than polishing silver. They loved gossip. Nothing escaped the ears of palace servants. Nothing. By breakfast, half the castle probably knew. And by supper, someone had almost certainly told someone who knew someone close to Archbishop Cranmer, which was the historical equivalent of posting your scandal on social media. Then, everything unraveled. An investigation began. Old secrets surfaced. People Catherine had known before becoming queen were questioned. Former lovers, friends, servants. The more investigators dug, the worse things became. Letters appeared. Witnesses talked. Confessions followed. And then Culpeper himself was arrested. Under questioning, Culpeper admitted meeting the Queen repeatedly, but denied sleeping with her. Was he telling the truth? Perhaps. Or perhaps he understood something very important. Adultery with the Queen was not merely embarrassing. It was treason. One confession could cost him his head. Actually, whether he confessed or not, his chances were not looking particularly wonderful. Henry was devastated, not simply angry, heartbroken. For all his faults, and there were enough to fill Hampton Court, Henry genuinely adored Catherine Howard. He had showered her with jewels, called her his rose without a thorn. Rather ironic, considering who you are listening to. When he learned of the accusations, the king reportedly burst into tears. Then came rage. And that rage usually involved paperwork ending with someone's execution. Culpeper was convicted of high treason. He was sentenced to the traditional punishment for traitors: hanged, drawn, quartered. A spectacularly unpleasant afternoon. Fortunately for him, Henry commuted the sentence. Instead, he received the considerably shorter version, one clean swing of the axe. Jane Boleyn followed, then Catherine Howard herself, walking to the scaffold where Anne Boleyn had stood only 6 years earlier. Different queen, same ending. So, was Thomas Culpeper the love of Catherine Howard's life? A reckless flirt? An ambitious courtier? Or simply another handsome young man caught inside the king's increasingly dangerous orbit? We will probably never know. But one thing is certain. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you could do was catch the Queen's eye. Because beauty faded, power shifted, kings changed their minds, but the executioner's axe was always punctual. Now, on the next episode, we are stepping behind the throne to meet the women who whispered in corridors, traded secrets over embroidery, carried messages no one else dared deliver, and quietly influenced kings, queens, and kingdoms. The spies, the ladies-in-waiting, the servants, the gossip merchants, the women history almost forgot, who may have been the most powerful people in court. The sharpest weapon was not always a sword. Sometimes it was a whisper. Now, my darlings, until next we meet again, remember to keep your crown straight and your head attached.